Well, welcome everybody to Love versus Hate. My name is Anne, and I am your old-fashioned nerd.
And I'm Emily, and I'm your mainstream millennial.
And on this podcast, we like to debate about things in life that we truly love and hate.
And everyone always agrees with me.
And we usually disagree because everyone always agrees with me, so I'm disagreeing with Emily right now because she's wrong. But today, we're actually going to talk about the decade of the 2000s. So if you hadn't listened, a few weeks ago, we did the 90s. And so now we're doing the early 2000s. So make sure you listen to the 90s episode as well if you haven't listened to that one yet.
So before we get into the actual discussion, we wanted to talk about the 28, no, I'm just kidding. We're not talking about all 28. But I looked up some really big pop culture moments in the early 2000s. So I'm just going to see if Anne remembers these things.
Ooh, I like this game.
I probably will because, I'm a mainstream millennial.
Yeah, and
okay.
I am the old-fashioned nerd. I probably won't. This will be a fun game. Let's go.
So in the early 2000s, the iPod was released, the really big iPod.
Not the Nano?
Not the little Nano.
Oh.
Hilary Duff rocked crimped hair like no other in Lizzie McGuire.
Oh, I've never even seen Lizzie McGuire.
Do you even know what crimped hair was? Yes.
Is? Okay. I remember that my friends and I would do it. But it was such a weird, it's not really curls. It's like really tiny waves.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a weird style. Hasn't really made a comeback ever.
Except for in my hair every day.
No, your hair's pretty waves.
The Backstreet Boys and NSYNC performed at the same time.
What?
Together.
They did that?
I guess so. I didn't know that. At the American Music Awards.
What? I had no idea they ever did a performance together. That's so weird to me.
I didn't either.
Who do you like better? Do you have a preference?
I did not even know that NSYNC was a thing. I only listened to the Backstreet Boys. I didn't know that NSYNC existed until I got older.
Oh my gosh, me too. We have something in common.
Yeah.
What? How many episodes has it taken to realize this?
Let's see. Number 9, flip-flops.
Oh, flip-flops are still a big thing for me. Was that really an early 2000s phenomenon?
I guess so.
Huh?
Oh, Lady Marmalade.
What the
do you know
heck
what
is
that is? It's a song.
You have to sing it for me.
Hey, Mr. Soul Sister.
Oh, yes.
Da-da-da-da-da-da.
Yes, I do know this song.
That came out with Christina Aguilera, Lil Kim, Maya,
I haven't heard that song
Pink.
in a long time.
Oh, remember? Did you ever watch Fast Food Nation?
Nope.
Oh, me either, but it scarred everyone apparently.
Wait, is that the documentary that's about McDonald's and this guy ate McDonald's for 3 months straight? Or is that something? Super Size Me. I think that's what I'm thinking
I think it's just talking about fast food restaurants and how disgusting that they are for you.
Yeah, they're so bad, but they're so good.
That was it. I mean, that wasn't it, but I didn't really know anything else.
There's probably stuff on this list that's super nerdy and you're just scrolling right past it because you don't even care about that stuff.
Yes.
You know what we need to do though? I really want to hear from our listeners. What is some stuff that you guys loved in the early 2000s? Because I feel no matter what we're about to say, we're not going to cover everything.
No, absolutely not.
And we're definitely missing major stuff that people are you need to let us know and then we'll feel bad and then we'll probably cover it in maybe another episode when we revisit the decades.
Yes.
So you could get a shout out.
Do it.
Anyway, so let's get into it.
$2000s.
Yes. Okay, you start this time.
All right. So in the 2000s, I was between the age of 6 and 15, just to remind everyone in case you need a refresher on the math.
So I would have been between 7 and 16.
16.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That is kind
You were old enough to drive in 2009?
Wait. Is that right?
It must have been. You graduated high school in 2012, didn't you?
Yeah. Wow.
Wow, you're so old. Okay, so movies. I wrote down anything with Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen. I was obsessed with them.
Uh-huh.
Shrek came out in 2001. We love Shrek.
Shrek, yes. I'm sorry, I had to think about it.
I was like, why isn't she agreeing with me?
I was so caught up on Mary-Kate and Ashley that I just couldn't
Have
get
you
over
not
it.
ever seen, have you seen anything with them?
I'm sure I did as a kid, and honestly, I remember my sister liking them, and I'm sure as a kid I probably liked them, but looking back on it, I'm like, oh, young me. Shame.
It Takes
For
Two.
shame.
So good. It's on Netflix. You should watch it.
Maybe.
How the West Was Fun. The only Western I've seen.
Oh my gosh, we should do a Western.
Ugh, fine. Then I'll make you watch that.
Okay, perfect.
I have it on VHS.
I will make you watch a Clint Eastwood.
Moving along to Mean Girls, a classic. He's Just Not That Into You. A classic. Pixel Perfect. That is a Disney Channel original movie. That's probably my favorite Disney Channel movie. Do you know what it's about?
Nope.
It's about a hologram. Wait, is that what you call people who are holographic?
Yes.
And they know everything. She knows everything. Her name is Loretta.
Uh-huh.
Have you ever seen Phil of the Future?
Nope.
Ugh. Well,
See, you like sci-fi.
no, it's not sci-fi. It's just featuring a hologram. Anyways, the Twilight Saga, of course.
Oh.
Oh, please, you totally watched those movies.
No, I did not.
Did you read the books?
No, I did not read the books.
Wow.
Also,
what kind of
I
nerd are you?
I will clarify, I did technically watch the first Twilight movie, but when I watched it along with the Mystery Science Theater Rift track. Highly recommend. I was crying. I was laughing so hard.
I am not saying that I think those are good movies, but between 2000 and 2009, whenever they came out, you betcha I thought they were good movies.
Yeah, I knew you would. Even back then, I was smart enough to know I'm not wasting my time with that.
But Team Jacob all the way, books and movies. Anyways.
I do know about Team Jacob and Team Edward. I'm at least familiar.
I had a shirt.
That's kind of funny. And not at all surprising.
My favorite book, in case anyone is wondering, is New Moon because Edward was barely in it. Woo! And then the last one I wrote down for movies is Home Alone 2 because Home Alone 2 is way better than the first one in my opinion. Which actually came out in 92, but...
I don't know if these movies came out at the time, but I was definitely a huge Balto fan.
I love Balto.
Balto's so good. Also, huge Snow Dogs fan. Did you ever see that one?
Yeah, I have.
So good. I watched it actually not that long ago, and I was kind of like, I was scared too, because I was like, I don't want to ruin my childhood, because I literally probably watched that movie 10 million times. But I was like, I'm going to do it. It's probably still good. It's still just as good. I mean, I'm sure it's not quite as good as I, thought as a kid, but I still genuinely enjoyed it, and it just makes a warm place in my heart, and I absolutely love it.
Do you remember? Oh, also Beethoven.
Oh, Beethoven!
I'm pretty sure I have all of these
Yes.
movies that you just said on VHS still.
Do you have a VHS player? OMG, she does.
I do.
Why did we do dramas? We should have done old VHS movies.
Another day.
Another day. But yeah, definitely watched those on repeat. But now I'm going to go through my list of some stuff that came out in the 2000s that I'm very much in love with today. This is a really good movie that I guarantee you have not seen and you would probably hate because it's not an American film.
Say it.
Pan's Labyrinth.
Never heard of it.
2006. Yeah, you probably wouldn't like it. It's in Spanish. So good, though. Lord of the Rings, duh. Fellowship, Two Towers, and Return of the King all came out 2001, 2002, 2003. Spirited Away, another Hayao Miyazaki Studio Ghibli film, won actually Best Animated Movie in 2003 or 2004 from the American Oscars. So it's really good. Highly recommend. Probably will watch at some point. Up. Abby, again, more Pixar. All Pixar movies are amazing.
I've never seen that movie.
You've never seen Up?
No.
Oh, you would like it. It's so cute. It's sad. I cry. Oh, Brother, Where Art Thou?
That reminds me, Bug's Life.
Oh, Bug's Life. That's actually probably my least favorite Pixar movie.
I love that movie.
I'm not
My
saying I
favorite
hate
part
it.
in it is when it says, die, die, die. And then they fall. It's a play that they put on.
Oh, I'm
Because I think the little ant is just so cute with her little cute voice.
Yeah.
Anyways.
I haven't seen that movie in so long. That was Pixar though, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I thought so. Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? Coen Brothers. Everything. Big Lebowski was also a Coen Brothers movie. They're so good. I like a lot of their movies. Spider-Man 2, best Spider-Man movie. You guys can debate me all day. That's the best one. Although I will say I do like Tom Hiddleston's. But of the Tobey Maguire, definitely Spider-Man 2. WALL-E, again, Pixar. And also the Kill Bill Volume 1 and Volume 2. And granted, this is also just movies that I looked at a list, so there's probably a lot more that I'm forgetting, and I'm going to be like kicking myself later, like, why didn't I think of this one? But just from a list that I was looking at, I was like, oh yeah, those are good movies.
Cool. Let's go into shows.
Yeah, let's do it.
So the first show that came to my mind was Extreme Makeover Home Edition. Sorry, I said that weird. Was Extreme Makeover Home Edition. Have you ever seen it?
Yeah, I've seen episodes here and there, but I was never like an avid follower.
I don't know why, but my mom and I and my sister, we always watched it. I think it came on Sunday nights for some reason, but I'm not sure. We always watched it live on television, just chilling. It was so sad though, because like you hear about like the families that they're working to build the new house for, and it was like, eh. And then you're like, bus driver, move that bus.
Yeah, I do totally remember that.
Going along with the house theme, clean house. I don't know why I love that one so much. Actually, I do because I love cleaning.
I was going to say, you love cleaning.
Let's see. Lizzie McGuire, of course.
Yeah, which I learned again semi-recently, for those of you who haven't listened to the episode where we talk about Hilary Duff and D. Bradley Baker. That was, Hilary Duff and Lizzie McGuire were the same thing. I totally thought they were separate people, like in real life, IRL.
Yes, Lizzie McGuire, which came out in 2004, and Hannah Montana came out in 2006, which surprises me because
Yeah, I thought
that's only a 2-year difference.
Yeah, I thought Hannah Montana was a lot like later.
Yeah,
like,
that's what I thought. I was like, my jaw dropped when I learned that.
Yeah.
And then iCarly and Zoe 101, which were on Nickelodeon. Wow, she did not like that.
Sorry, it's just literally listing all the things I hate.
Well, I'm ready to listen to all the things I'll hate right now.
Okay, cool. Let's see. Oh, what shows did I watch as a kid? I mean, I already kind of listed them. They didn't really change over the years. They kind of stayed consistent. Except for, again, here's a couple that came out in the early 2000s. The West Wing, Aaron Sorkin, so good. Do you know what The West Wing is?
I've heard of it, but...
It's really, really good.
Is it like a political show or something?
Yeah. Arguably the best political show, in my opinion, because it was written by Aaron Sorkin, who is one of my all-time favorite writers. Avatar: The Last Airbender, oh gosh, so good. I watched that a few years after it had come out. Like, by the time I watched it, they had all the seasons on like DVD. So I kind of missed the like, it wasn't quite when I was a kid, but I was at the perfect age where like I fell in love with it, and I'm still in love with it today. I watch it pretty much annually. It's so good. You will watch it at some point. Don't worry about that. Ouran High School Host Club, another anime, so good. Animes are really, well, there's a lot of bad animes, but there's also a lot of good animes. Death Note, another anime. That one was fun. That one's like, have you ever heard of, you've never heard of that. Why am I even asking? And FMA Brotherhood. All 3 of those are animes. All very different animes, too.
Where do you watch these?
Illegal streaming sites.
You probably gave your mom's computer a lot of viruses.
Oh, no, I never watched. Okay, full disclosure. When I was in high school, I kind of thought anime was one of those weird things that I shouldn't get into, because that's what a lot of people thought. But in college, my eyes were opened to the possibilities. And it wasn't until college that I actually started watching anime. These all just came out in the 2000s.
Oh, so you gave your computer lots of viruses.
Exactly. I mean, I really only watch it from one site that I think it's good.
And she has a Mac, so that means that she can't get viruses.
Yeah, it's fine. All 3 of those are amazing. All 3 of them are very, very different, but all good. So,
is that all that I had to listen to?
I know I had a less. I mean, again, I am totally gonna kick myself later when people like. I want to encourage everyone who's listening to send us some stuff that you guys loved from these decades.
Yeah, because we're probably forgetting a lot.
I know we're forgetting so much, and then we're gonna have to do a whole nother episode on stuff that people send us that we're like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
But this is just what we have for now.
Yeah, and also I just want to say I feel like the 2000s is such like a diverse time period, like 6 to 15 or 7 to 16. That's so much time, and that's a lot of change.
Yeah.
In that time span. So, especially for artists, which we're gonna go into next. Like I have Princess Diaries soundtrack, the Lizzie McGuire movie soundtrack, Ella Enchanted soundtrack. I kid you not, last night when I was doing research for this episode, I was looking up all these different soundtracks, and then I saw on Disney Channel, they did like songs every year with all the Disney Channel stars singing like covers of Disney movies. Like A Dream Is a Wish Your Heart Makes with all of the Disney Channel stars. It was really like cheesy and bad, but also amazing because you're like, OMG, it's the Sweet Life of Zack and Cody stars singing.
See, that is, I think, one of our biggest differences is Disney Channel. I did not grow up on it at all.
Well, I did. Disney and Nickelodeon. Wasn't really a fan of Cartoon Network.
Shame. Cartoon Network has good shows, namely Steven Universe and Adventure Time.
Girls.
Powerpuff Girls too. Although I haven't really seen much of it.
She doesn't know.
Nope.
Anyways, back to the music. So those were like probably when I was 6 or whenever those movies came out. And then I got older. Actually, Britney Spears too. I remember listening to her first album whenever that came out. And then I got a little bit older and I really liked Jesse McCartney because what tween didn't, except for Anne. And then
yeah, I don't know who you're talking about.
Oh my gosh.
I'm sorry.
Okay, you totally know who Jesse McCartney is.
I'm sure I do. I know a lot of people by their, like, well, that's the thing.
By listening to their songs.
I was going to say, you could play a song for me and I'd be like, oh yeah, duh, I know that song, but could I tell you the name of the song or the artist? No. So have I heard their music?
I don't want
probably?
a pretty face. I don't want anyone to hold. I don't want my love to go to waste. I want you and your beautiful soul. You've totally heard it. Anyways.
Probably.
How about this? Hilary Duff.
I know Hilary Duff, yes.
And then my last two were JoJo. Do you know who JoJo is?
You know, I don't, but I feel like at some point we talked about this.
She's kind of more of like a soul R&B singer.
Yeah.
And then also the All American Rejects.
Heard of, don't know.
Really love them. I don't know if they would be considered rock or pop rock, probably more so. I don't know. Somebody can correct me if they feel like it. But those were my artists that I could think of.
Yeah, see, so the problem that I had with the 90s is the same problem that I had with the 2000s when it comes to music. I'm one of those weirdos who, I genuinely love music. I do. I like listening to it. But I just don't follow it. I don't know people. It's one of those weird things. And I like all music except for like rap that's super provocative with horrible lyrics and like screamo and heavy metal.
Yeah.
But like other than that, I genuinely like even country, I'm not like the biggest fan of, and I wouldn't necessarily ever put it on myself, but like if it's on, I don't care. Like I just really genuinely like all music. I'm not really biased towards it. Kind of weird. So I don't have like preferences. Like, oh,
that's so weird.
Sure. Backstreet Boys, sure. Well,
you don't have a preference of which one is better, Anne?
No. Do you?
Definitely Backstreet Boys.
Okay.
I didn't even know that NSYNC existed until I was like 16. I was like, what are you guys talking about? Shall we move on to gadgets?
Yeah, let's move on to gadgets. Now that everyone can make fun of me and pity me for my lack of music taste. Okay, continue.
Okay, so my gadgets included Polly Pockets.
Obvi.
We love. My iPod Nano.
I was going to say we have to talk about the iPod Nano.
Yes.
That was definitely on my list. That was such a huge craze. Like specifically in middle school, everybody had an iPod Nano.
Yeah, I never had the like original ones, like the iPod Shuffles. You remember those?
Yeah,
I never
yeah.
had one of those
Me
or
neither.
the original iPod Nano. It took me a while. I got the one with the longer screen, the bigger, longer screen.
Yeah.
And like those colors, I got the purple one.
I was going to say, yeah, the ones that were smaller, longer screen, and colored.
Yeah.
Those were what were huge. I came in right at the end of that craze, like I do with almost everything. But I did get an iPod Nano.
Yeah.
I had to. And then I put it in the wash and it died. That's fine.
Wow. That just goes to show how much she cares about music.
I know. But I had a dark green one. Mine was dark green. It was
yeah.
very cool.
And then I had this thing. My friend and I were really into being spies.
That's awesome.
And so we had all this spy equipment.
Love it. Yes.
And so I had this thing that you could put it like on the outside of your door in that little like corner between the corner of the door and the door. I don't know what I'm saying. And it recognizes when somebody walks by and it beeps. Which I don't know how that's very spy-y because the person that walks by can tell. Yeah. And then I had an earpiece thing where you would put like the device in wherever you want to hear and then you can listen to it. It's kind of like a recorder.
So cool.
And among other things, I can't remember what else we had, but yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I got.
I had, okay, do you remember Pochi? Or Poochie is maybe how I pronounce it?
No.
But it was like a mechanical dog that had a giant square face and it had the big ears that like came over. Do you know what I'm talking about? It was like a mechanical dog.
No.
Okay, well, I remember like that was a must-have for me as a kid, and I did have one, and I played with it for like 3 days straight, and then never touched it again.
Wow. So wasteful.
I know. And you know, we haven't even talked about Furbies. I didn't know if
never
we...
had one.
I did. I don't know why. It was terrifying, and I'm pretty sure my mom had to throw it away because I was terrified of it. But anyway, we'll move on from that topic.
I actually had have you ever heard of a what's-her-face?
No.
It's a doll, but she didn't have a face.
Oh.
She had stamps, so you could stamp on what you wanted her face to look like, and then you could wash it off and put on a new face. And that's why they call it a what's-her-face doll.
I never heard of this. Sounds creepy.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, that is a lot of the toys and gadgets from our childhood. Did you also know the USB flash drive came out in like 2000?
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I know.
That's
So
crazy.
I had to put that on there, even though that wasn't.
Oh yeah,
necessarily
remember
something I was
floppy
crazy about.
disks?
Yeah, floppy disks. Very vaguely. I never actually used one, but I remember my parents having them.
I think I used one actually. I don't
never
know
did.
why, but I did.
No, I just remember my parents having them. Also, the original Xbox came out in 2001. I definitely had one of those. And that was, honestly, the original Xbox is really, I mean, Super Nintendo, yes, but like that was what got me personally into gaming because in the Super Nintendo, I mostly just watched my brothers play. Oh, also, do you remember those rubber bands that had different shapes that were like...
Silly bands.
Silly bands, yes.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I had lots of those.
I know. Those were a huge craze. I remember being jealous because I didn't have as many as some other people. But also, do you remember, I was looking at images of like toys from the early 2000s and something I saw that just triggered me. And I was like, oh my gosh, I totally remember having this. It was those Pringle container, like Pringle holder. And it was just like something you'd use for like your lunchbox. But they specifically were for Pringles chips because they were the Pringle shape. And like you could have like maybe the bottom was like gray and then the top was like a sparkly pink or purple, or they could be like a solid green color. Do you remember these? Did you have those? Oh. I had like 5 of them because I mean I'm still obsessed with Pringles, but I was as a kid too. And so I had these like Pringle holder containers. But they were always too small for me. I always wanted more Pringles. But I just saw that picture and was like, oh, dang. I totally remember that.
That's funny.
So,
All right, activities for the 2000s or hobbies. Mine was definitely in middle school or elementary school through middle school and a year into high school was soccer.
oh, yes. Uh-huh.
And then welcome, Steve. Welcome to the podcast.
He just jumped up and he has his face like up in our mics.
And
So
then
if you hear a sudden breath, it's the dog, not us.
Girl Scouts was really big. I was
uh-huh.
a Girl Scout. Still am for life, yo.
Yeah.
Represent. Scrapbooking. I really love to scrapbook.
Yes.
I still love to scrapbook.
Uh-huh.
Cleaning.
Yeah, well, you're always going to be
I did
obsessed
this.
with that.
I did this weird thing where I had these black flats that I only wore when I did the laundry, because I felt like Cinderella. Because Cinderella has black flats. If you watch the movie, she's got black flats, and so I wore those when I went downstairs to do the laundry, and I would sing. Yeah, that's how weird I am.
That's adorable.
Yeah, I also actually at one point I didn't like to clean. So but my sister liked to clean. So I was like, oh, if you clean my room, I'll play Bratz dolls with you.
Aww.
And so then we would do like a clean house reveal where I wouldn't be allowed to go into my room until it was done. And then she would show me and I'd be like, oh my gosh.
That's so cute. Aw, that's so funny because now you're the one who loves to clean.
Yeah.
Aw, that is adorable. That is so cute. Would she be like, move that door?
It's not Extreme Makeover Home Edition,
Okay,
Anne.
well, I don't know. Jeez, shutting me down hard. That actually did remind me, though, something I would do as a kid, which I'm sure all kids do, but my sister and then our neighbors who are our same age, we would put on plays for our parents. That was always really fun, and I'm sure they were absolutely horrible, but our parents clapped like they were good, so that's fun.
Yeah, I remember doing that kind of stuff for just like dancing and singing to things. And the living room that we had when I was a kid was like, it had a really big window.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would stand across from the window, and it would always be at night when I would be performing, so I could see my reflection in the window. And I would just watch myself.
That's funny.
Another thing that I remember doing as a kid was I didn't get allowance. Did you get allowance?
Nope.
So instead of getting allowance, me and my friend decided that we were going to raise money for like a children's hospital or something like that. And by doing chores. And so like I would get 10 cents if my parents wanted a soda, and I would have to go downstairs into the garage and get them a soda, or 40 cents for emptying the dishwasher or whatever. And I would keep track. I had a bulletin board in my room. I would write down every time I did something and the corresponding amount that I would get. And I would keep it all in like a dishwasher, those dishwasher tabs that you put to clean the dishes, an empty one, and that's where I'd put all my money that I made. I don't even remember taking it anywhere, but
It was the
hopefully I did. But yeah.
That is adorable. I do remember, this is totally like, that somehow just kind of, this wasn't necessarily something I did all the time, but I remember in 5th grade at school, we had to make commercials.
Ooh.
Yeah, and for whatever reason, that reminded me of when I made our commercials, and they were really bad. But it was actually super fun because my friends and we actually would do this kind of frequently, like we would make videos together, and that was always kind of fun. They were always really, really horrible, of course, but they were super fun to make together, and like, I remember making those commercials together, and it was like, we thought they were the bomb.com.
Yeah.
But I'm sure they were really horrible, but yeah.
That's funny. All right. Anything else?
Oh man, 2000s.
Oh, let's talk about the fashion.
Yeah, let's talk about clothes for.
I remember wearing gauchos.
Oh,
Do you remember what gauchos were?
No.
They're like capris, but they go out they flare at the ends.
Oh.
I remember for Easter one year, I had like teal gauchos with a matching teal shirt.
Wow.
It was very delicious, if I must say.
Wow, I'm impressed. I feel like the big name brands was huge. Like everyone was wearing the American Eagles and the...
Do you remember Limited 2?
No.
Oh.
What's that?
It's like, do you know what Justice is?
I mean, I know what the word means.
It's a store.
It's
It's a store for little girls, and it's like really colorful and like crazy. It was basically Limited 2. Justice is our Limited 2. But if you don't remember, it was a super girly store. It had only girls' clothing. And it also had CDs like Jesse McCartney and Hilary Duff.
Yeah, that's why I didn't know this store. I feel like, though, the big thing was, like just those name brand stuff.
Yeah, like you were cool if you wore something from American Eagle
or Aeropostale.
Hollister.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, guys.
Which I never did, but I remember being jealous that everybody else did.
Yeah, I had like 2 shirts from Hollister because I spent like $40 on them.
I know, it was ridiculous.
And then I was like, I'm cool. And then I was like, wait, I hate this shirt.
I know. I don't understand why it was ever popular. Like, it's just their brand is like huge, and it's like,
I know.
I just don't understand. But that was
crazy.
the 2000s.
Oh, and then Bermuda shorts, Bermuda plaid shorts. Remember those, like the ones that went to your knees?
Yes.
That's Bermuda style.
Okay.
And then it was always plaid, and then you had to have a matching shirt.
Oh, yeah.
We love.
So glad those times are over.
Yeah. Yeah, and I would also always try to straighten my hair because I didn't like my hair. And that was just a hot mess express because I didn't know how to straighten my hair. So it was just like poofy and sort of straight, but also wavy. It was not a good look. Maybe we'll share some of our old photos on our Facebook page.
Ooh, that's a good idea.
That could be fun.
That would be very fun. I
We
like
should
that
do
idea.
that.
We'll do that.
Some throwbacks.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Okay, Emily, let me hear it. What is your life lesson from the early 2000s?
My life lesson is to, when in doubt, Disney Channel it out.
Was that a real saying, or did you just make that up right now?
I made up the Disney Channel it out part, but it's a saying to go, when in doubt, blah, 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 it out.
Oh, okay.
Like on tests, if it's multiple choice, when in doubt, see it out, you know?
Oh, yeah, that's funny. Okay. That's fair, okay. What about Disney Plus? Are you going to subscribe to that? It's like a big thing.
I don't know. I probably will eventually, possibly. Otherwise, I'll just live vicariously through everybody else's subscription.
See, that's kind of my plan.
I'll be like, hey, want me to come over?
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of my plan because I just hate the idea of giving the mouse more money. But at the same time, I love their product and I want it so bad.
Sorry, can you do that again? My hair was stuck in here and it was like...
So yeah, I'll probably do the same thing and just ask for people's like login info because the idea of paying the mouse, like I hate that idea, but at the same time I love their product and I want it so bad. So I might cave eventually, but I'm just upset that they're even doing it. I mean, it makes sense. That makes them more money, but at the same time, like Disney gets so much money as it is. They don't need more. They're just a giant money crazed machine. It's true.
Preach.
Yeah. Before we get to my life lesson, real fast, Emily, how can our listeners find more of us if they just can't get enough?
Well, they could go onto Facebook or Instagram or Twitter and search Love versus Hate podcast and find us there. Definitely give us a comment, leave us a message or anything if you want to let us know some ideas for upcoming podcasts. We always love hearing your guys' ideas or what you think of the podcast. Or you can email us at loveversushatepodcast, that's VS for verses, @gmail.com.
Yes.
And we have a YouTube where you can find some extra content or you can just listen to the episodes there.
Yep. So to wrap us up, my life lesson from the early 2000s is if you have to watch Twilight, do it with the Mystery Science Theater Rift track. It makes it 1,000,000 times better. You won't sit there and feel guilty about watching it because you would have watched it with the riff track, and it'll be so funny. You'll probably cry. You'll be laughing so hard. So that's my life lesson. If you have to watch Twilight, watch it with the riff track.
Well, I haven't done that, so maybe I should try that.
We should. Oh my gosh, we should. You actually would probably really like it. Maybe. Actually, I don't know. So I don't know what you're going to like half the time. But I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt that you would actually enjoy it.